Prof. Ruto said he supported Uhuru Kenyatta. He deserves this Mount Kenya vote. Raila Odinga says, I supported Mwai Kibaki. I deserve this Mount Kenya vote. I took him while he was sick and I campaigned for him in this place. Who deserves this Mount Kenya vote if it's really about giving back to the person?
You know, I heard Rigathi Gachagua sometimes back say, Ruto has been nice to people, to us people. He has done great things for us. He has visited our churches. He has helped us build our schools. He has done what? He supported Uhuru Kenyatta to be president. And we people of the mountain do not forget when somebody has done a good thing. Then I got myself thinking, when was Rigathi born? Was he born yesterday? You know, sometimes you don't know when somebody was born. You may just see somebody you think is maybe 50 years. Maybe he's 10 or 15. You can't know.
It's been a deal.
I don't know whether Rigathi was born in this country at a time I would suspect he was born. Can he, even if he was a kid, can you compare what Jaramogi did to what Ruto did? Jaramogi Kenyatta. Anaambiwa na wazungu chukua hii serikali, anaambiwa hapana. Kenyatta atoke jela, yeye ndio, he's our second god, akuja atawale. Because Jaramogi was intelligent. People have said he was a fool. He knew the role the Kikuyus had played in the struggle for independence and their numbers in the country and all other variables and dynamics. He said, in the interest of this country, let it be Kenyatta. If he was a man who was not sophisticated intellectually, he would have taken power. He refused. Said Kenyatta is the leader of the African people. And he must come from detention to come and be the president. And that's just how it was. When you talk of Raila Odinga in 2002, how could it even get? How? Kibaki had given up in struggling for presidents. He had given up. Kunywa chai moja anasema hii wanaume wawili na mama mmoja wanafanya nini kwa mahoteli. Wamola kijana, the late Kibaki and Charity Ngilu. What are these two men doing with a woman in hotels meeting at knock, trying to get who among them will be president? Kibaki had almost given up. He was going nowhere. The time for Kibaki to be president was 1997. I came from Nyeri by Matatu. When I moved from Tiru, I thought the whole country was in Nairobi. The last Sunday before the election, he was having his rally in Urupa. The people I met in town, I thought the whole of Kenya was in Nairobi. So I knew people were coming from a meeting. But my friend, as I moved, the meeting was still on and Urupa kena pasuka. Those I was meeting had no space. That's the time for Kibaki to have been president. But he lost. And I think, to me, as an observer of Kenyan politics, Kibaki had almost given up. In 2002, it wasn't his year. It is this rainbow thing that then gave him that presidency. And that's where you must see Raila's role in that Kibaki Tosha thing. It's not just saying Fulani Tosha. Even the moment in Uhuru Park, where Kinanyachai almost collapsed. He took everybody by surprise. Because he has said that aliona hii kitu tukiendelea hii this more you will still beat us. So take everybody by surprise. Kibaki Tosha. Kusha, it ended the story. Only Nyachai bolted to go and do 4 people. The rest were forced to be together and swallow everything and sacrifice all the ambition. Saitoti, the late Saitoti, Kalonzo Musyoka, everybody sacrificed. Because the way Raila had done it, you couldn't do anything else. Now, can you compare that to what Ruto has done? What did Ruto do? The other day I explained to you, Ruto cannot claim to have made Uhuru Kenyatta president because Uhuru Kenyatta could have taken Mudavadi. Or he could have supported Raila. The easiest thing for Uhuru was to support Raila in 2013. The easiest. Easiest to be Raila's deputy. And then Raila goes for 5 years because they were 20 to 2017. Uhuru will be going for his second term. Ruto will be a small boy struggling for senator or something like that. Because it will be a combination of Luos and Kikuyus. You couldn't beat. You can't beat that combination in this country.
But everything seemed worked perfectly for Ruto. He was appointed. He became deputy president.
Uhuru made him, saved him from ICC. It is association with Uhuru that saved him with the ICC. If there was any saving, maybe they were not guilty. And you know, to be jailed doesn't mean you are even guilty.
Yeah.
you know how things work.
Yeah.
Hawa wazungu wanaona sisi tumepigana sijui nini na nini. Wakifikiri ni wewe watakuwekea tu. So Ruto played a big role in Uhuru's success. But he should not over-amplify it. He should not exaggerate the role he played. Because there are many moves Uhuru would have made that will still have made Uhuru come tops. The major one, the greatest one, would have been to deputize Raila Odinga in 2013.
I'm looking at this conversation.
Period. Or in 2017, to ask Raila to deputize him. Raila, let us end this thing. Hii kitu tatusumbua bure. Wacha hii Ruto ni mtu wa mambo mingi. Wewe kuja hapa tufanye na wewe. Na Raila ambia watu, there are many ways of killing a cat. Let's end the acrimony in the country. I'll go for the president in 2022. Where would Ruto be? So there are many scenarios you could play that would still put Uhuru at the top.
What role, though, for Raila's path to State House, what role will Central Kenya play for him? You've said he doesn't need the mountain majority vote. He just needs to scoop away some votes for William Ruto. What role will it play, and how will he get to that place where he scoops close to, you called it 40%?
There is a conversation going on around the mountain and on the mountain. Today, as we speak, there is a conversation, a national conversation among the people of the Gikuyu nation. You know, Gikuyu includes all those other Gema people. There is a conversation as we speak going on. So two things will happen. Either of the two. One, Raila would still fight for a share of that vote with the support of Mother and the Uhuru Kenyatta, and all he needs is 30%, and he could get that percent plus even a little more, 35. So long as he gets beyond the 28%, he will win the presidency. So that could happen.
Okay.
But this conversation could also produce a radical departure or a new move that ends up supporting Raila Odinga because of Mother Karua and Uhuru Kenyatta. The entire community. That is possible.
The entire community.
The entire community. Because the Kikuyus
are 33 days
they know if they are divided, they are cooked. So you can let me tell you something else that I've said, I don't know, somewhere here or no, I go in so many places.
Yeah.
Who tells you the Kikuyus are supporting Ruto? Who tells you?
We have polls. We have the waves.
Who tells you?
The crowd,
Who tells you
the people that are there.
Who tells you? My friend, it may not be easy.
I think now you're lying to me. You cannot
I'm saying, when you see boys dancing on the road and a few fellows, you may be tempted to conclude the community is supporting. You see, this is a community without a presidential candidate. A community that's looking at the life after Uhuru leaves State House. This community, according to me, as we speak, has yet to make the decision of where they will go. They could support Ruto, all of them, to a man.
Isn't that far-fetched?
It is possible. It's possible.
They
could decide, hey, hii mix itatumaliza. If you ask me from my pulse, when I take the pulse of the nation and settle on Mount Kenya, and I've told you before, these Mount Kenya people will support Raila in numbers that will make Ruto get shocked. And you don't blame them. Their future is guaranteed if they use Azimio route more than the Kenya Kwanza route. And we will discuss this thing. You know, they thought they owned Ruto. And that's why their leadership, especially young leaders, all these boys, they thought the community was going to own Ruto, because without them, his government would collapse. But then with the entry of the Mudavadis and a few other things, the dynamics of politics, they have come to realize, because even Ruto has made more concessions to Mudavadi, Wetangula, Kingi, Mutua, than he has made to the... In fact, he has made other than giving them the running mate, he has not made any undertaking, any commitment.
I think that was what Mwangi Kiunjuri was saying.
Yes. You see, we think those are the things that are informing the conversation around the mountain. So, even those who are supporting, thinking they will be controlling that government and controlling Ruto, I begin to realize, no. We may not be the people having the controlling share of this company called UDA or Kenya Kwanza. Are you getting it?
I think it is Moses.
For that reason, it's very difficult.
I think it's Moses Kure who said this hustler fund may be divided according to one man, one vote, 1 shilling,
Yes.
which obviously will benefit Mount Kenya.
Yes.
Do you think that is a guarantee
No,
to the mountain
you see
region?
That also makes me laugh, because the things they were against, all of them in BBI, they want to implement all of them, including positions where you give Mudavadi prime minister that was in the... And so really, what I'm telling you, the mountain is yet to decide where to go.
I'm reading a few feedback here. Agwaba says, Jadil, you have a bright future. You're so brilliant. I hope to visit you in December. Thanks. And have dinner. This is Chereche says, Kunguku Kwangala. Ruto is in government and he has power of wealth. He has stolen. I'm not sure about that. So much coming in. John Kizito, even your face is in doubt of Raila going to State House, but because you are paid to campaign, do the job. He's talking about you. I've been paid by
that
Raila.
my face is in doubt.
Yeah? No. Is your face in doubt?
I'm not supporting Raila. I'm only looking at the situation and saying, I'm not seeing the path Ruto can use to get power. Yeah. We are now talking about the mountain. I want to ask that person, whatever the name was, if I tell you that Raila can get up to 25-30% of the mountain as we speak, will that be far-fetched? With the effort from Mother Karua and Uhuru, and you still believe Raila will get the 2-3% he was getting from the mountain? Who between you and me is dreaming? And then we ask the next question. How safe will Ruto's bid be after Raila has taken that 5% or 40%? Will he still be safe? The answer is no, because across the country, Ruto is doing very well. Western, coast to come. He's doing better than Jubilee did. Yeah. But he has not upstaged Raila. Raila is still commanding the areas. He's still leading in those areas. So, for Ruto to win, on top of that good performance elsewhere, he must lock Raila out of the mountain. And the question then remains, we come back where we started. Are you saying all the effort from Uhuru and Mother will amount to zero? Also understanding that Raila always had good support from the mountain, except for two things. Number one, the system made it difficult even physically for him to move. Okay? And the minds of the people were also poisoned. Including institutions being used in some church, what have you. Are you saying Raila can come from the mountain with less than 30% of the votes? You will be dreaming. And once he gets that, and that's the basis and foundation for my argument, that once he's unable to lock, Ruto is unable to lock Raila out of Mount Kenya, his goose is cooked.
Someone is saying 65%. This is Joy Njoki. Yes. Someone is saying exactly. Dear Prof, what did Ruto do to you?
No, nothing.
The end.
In fact, in response to this, somewhere in some, I don't know, some show, either here or some, I said, in fact, I would vote for Ruto. When I said that, somebody has been circulating that clip. I have nothing against Ruto. Why would I have anything against him? And Ruto himself knows. And I've repeated. Ruto himself, as an intelligent man, knows Manyora is simply analyzing the politics of this country. And Manyora has nothing against Ruto. I have even wanted to do certain clips, and my editorial team in which you sit has said this one will be seen to be Amani Wongo. You don't you sit in my editorial
Sometimes
team.
I tell you to
This one, let's not do it. So, there is no matter. And even then, if we did those things we have wanted to maybe air, it would not have been that we hate. It is just so hard hitting. We would say, no, let's, in the interest of fairness, Let's leave it the way it is.
Talk to me about Uhuru's support.
Yes.
But before you talk to me about that, so you say Central Kenya.
Yes.
If Ruto is unable to lock it, Raila is a
You
sure
should
win.
forget. And you can't look it with Uhuru there. And the approach mother is using the mountain, that is a dangerous approach. She's not going to shout there. She's not going, no. She's almost educating the people, taking them through stuff. And then finally tell him, then with this in mind, we now come to you and ask you to support Raila Odinga.
Hey, someone says, when Martha ran, she had 43k votes. Mudavadi had 300k. The big question, who is more valuable? This is Solomon _ Kenyan.
More valuable as in?
Because Martha Karua had 43,000 votes, Mudavadi had 300,000 votes. This is
Almost 400,000.
Yeah.
So Mudavadi is more valuable.
Yeah, this is
But
Solomon Kenyan.
you see, the contexts are different. Mudavadi was running to be president, and he came from our community where he was the only community candidate. The Luyas didn't have another candidate. Mother was running at a time, the community was decided it was Uhuru. It did not matter how good Mother was. It never mattered how good Peter Kenneth was. It never mattered how good Paul Muite was. The Kikuyu community had somehow settled on Uhuru Kenyatta. And it was basically because of two things. Number one, the belief that the coming together of Ruto and Uhuru will end animosity within the Rift Valley, coming after the post-election violence, which was a good thing. And secondly, because these guys had been committed to the ICC, that had been indicted, the belief was, by voting for these gentlemen, you will save them from the hangman's noose. So those two factors had contributed to make Uhuru the community leader, the community preferred presidential candidate.
So you cannot compare.
So it does not matter how good Mother was then. She couldn't get, even that 43 was just trying.